Hi folks, hope you're doing well. This is a little video about Man United of the past. Well, because I was just quickly watching a retro game, Chelsea versus Man United in 2012. So, yeah, if you compare the team then to the team now, tricky. I mean, Carrick you'd have, Vidic you'd have, Evra you'd have in this team. So that De Gea you probably have over this one. This one's full of mistakes. That one was still coming through and learning. So although he had some mistakes in him, he was getting to his best. So I'd rather have him now than this one. But you still have one Bazaka at right back over De Silva. It's Rafael De Silva. Central midfield, you had Giggs. And so, yeah, would you keep Giggs over what we got right now? Oof. Difficult. I'd have Giggs in replacement of Pogba. I mean, I like Pogba. When he's playing well, fantastic player. But I'd have Giggs as replacement of Pogba for this kind of situation. Because I think Bruno is far better. You'd have Carrick as replacement for Mata. So that would work quite nicely. In attack, oof, I would. This is where it gets tricky. In attack, then you had Rooney, and Rooney was firing big time. He was doing well. But I think Welbeck was probably playing. No, Welbeck will get nowhere near this team. Nowhere near good enough. You had Valencia on the right. You had Ashley Young on the left. Now, of course, Young and Valencia, really as wingers, were quite poor for United. Were really poor, really. When you consider United had Kanchelskis on the right, then Giggs on the right, then Ronaldo on the right. So Valencia, compared to those three, was nothing, really. Not as a right winger. As a wing-back, a few years later, yeah, he worked his little socks off. And should be commended for that reason only. He helped the team out when the board were buying the wrong players all the time, when they weren't really focusing on defence but on attack, and buying these glory players. Valencia and Young really did help the team out and the club out a lot by playing in positions that they really shouldn't have been playing in at all. But would they get into this team? No. Not in the positions they're playing in that match, Chelsea versus United. Chelsea at home against United in the league 2012. No. But Rooney, the thing of it is, yeah. Martial is doing good up front. I personally, 2012, I'd have that Rooney instead of Martial. I mean, I was tempted to put Martial on the left. So yeah, put Martial on the left, get rid of Rashford. Have Rooney instead. Have Greenwood still on the right of that front three. And there you go. I think you've got a good team there. I mean, remarkably, just mentioned Rashford. Remarkably, this is something that did amaze me immensely. Henderson won the Player of the Year. There was another player just behind him, and then Rashford was third in the votes. Rashford. What the heck has he done? He had a nice little purple patch for about, 5-6 games? That was it. Maybe more. Okay, let's be nice. Let's say Um, 8 games, he played well. 8 games in a whole season, he played well. And he gets nominated third best player of the season. Come on, folks. How on earth does that happen? I mean, of all of it, because he's Twitter. Because of the work he did for charity, most likely. Which has got nothing to do with Premier League player of the season. Nothing at all. If you're looking at best player, he would not even get in the top 30. Really. If I looked through it, I could pick 30 players easily ahead of him. I mean, United players ahead of him. You've got Wan-Bissaka, definitely ahead of him. Bruno. You've got Martial. You've got Greenwood. All those players way ahead of Rashford. Way ahead of Rashford. But then you've got all the Liverpool players, and you've got the City players, and you've got a few Chelsea players like Mount, who would be ahead. Then a few Sheffield United players, because they were flying high before the break, before the league was stopped. And Leicester players. Yeah, Madison. Way higher. And Diddy as well. I put him higher than Rashford. Crazy the way Rashford gets all these plaudits and all this attention for really, I wouldn't even say he's not a player that I would describe as bone hot and cold. He is lukewarm for most of the season and then has a couple of hot spells. Yeah, Martial, hot and cold. He's either very good or he's sort of, playing quite poorly. He's just not on it at all. But he's normally very good, Martial. You can't say that of Rashford. So, yeah, I've definitely dropped Rashford, put Rooney in. But on the bench, yeah, Chicharito, I'd have him coming off the bench. I definitely have Vidic in replacement of. I'd go Maguire. I mean, in that game, Evans was playing, so I wouldn't have Evans. No chance. Didn't rate him. There were so many mistakes in Evans. I just wouldn't have. He never looked. Not while he's at United. He's done well since leaving. But while he's at United, he never looked that he would be a top defender. Never looked like he would be. But okay, of the current team and that team, if I could go with Lee Maguire replace Lindelof with Vidic. Got to. Because I was thinking, okay, put Bailly on Vidic. No, Bailly and Vidic are too similar. Yeah, they both nutcases going to challenges that really they got no business going into. Vidic was a cruncher, just like Bailly. Absolute cruncher. Yeah, timing of tackle, fantastic. But also Vidic's great in the air. That's why I thought get rid of Maguire. But Lindelof, what does he offer? I just don't know what Lindelof offers. Maguire is at least good in the air and quite strong. Lindelof, what does he offer, really? If Ferdinand had been playing that game, it would have been Vidic and Ferdinand. I brought me into this team from that team. So, yeah. So there you go. Yeah, I would definitely have done that because obviously the team we got now. I'm sorry, folks. I'd still say we are so far away from where we need to be. If you're looking at maybe becoming contenders for the title, we are such a long way away from that. It is ridiculous. Someone was going to say earlier. I will go into something now that I was going to say earlier. That was an important point that I realised earlier. That was a good point to make, actually. I became a Christian in '94, July '94. Around that time, Man United were deserving my attention because they were playing beautiful football. They were building strong squads. They were challenging for everything. Season in, season out, they were challenging. They were really, really pushing it. And it started around that time. It was exciting. It was an exciting time to watch, really. So they were earning my attention. The church certainly wasn't. Certainly wasn't. Now, I certainly say over the past 3 or 4 years, I've gone away really from the bother of supporting Manchester United. I mean, I still support the club, but I've gone away from that a lot more over the past 3 years and gone more to Christianity. I wouldn't necessarily say the church or God is more deserving now than what they were before, but Man United is nowhere near as deserving now as to what they were before. Nowhere near. When I watch them play, it's not even, as I said, I did the video the other day, and when I did the video on the 1-1 West Ham game, I said in there, I basically predicted that would be the case after the Chelsea game, after the FA Cup game, because you could see the pattern emerging. Crystal Palace, Southampton. Yeah, that was first team. That wasn't the reserves that played Norwich, where the performance was poor in most of that game. Wasn't that. This was the first team. And they were becoming clueless again. Yeah, they were getting to that point again where basically what seems to happen with this team and under Ollie, when they start playing well, it tends to get to them in some way, that they then suddenly forget how to play football. They've been playing well, now all of a sudden they've completely and utterly forgotten how to play football. So how do you completely and utterly forget how to play football? You are professional football players. You've gone from quick attack to, let's slow it all down. Let's try and be conservative in our play. And let's not really try to win this match here. So why? What are you doing? You were in a position where you should now, or even before now, you should have really cemented yourself in third place. But it was clear they weren't going to do that. Southampton game, Crystal Palace game, then Chelsea FA Cup. You could see there, right, okay, we're in trouble. Big trouble now. They've completely forgotten. There's no leaders on the pitch. Is that one thing I'd agree with Mark Goldbridge, is that Maguire needs to be stripped of the captaincy because there's no leadership on the pitch. It's his job to lead the team on the pitch. That's what Roy Keane always did. Yeah, that's like if Roy Keane had been in this side, definitely the first player you would definitely bring over from the 2012 game to this game would be Roy Keane. Sadly, he had left by then. But that's why you bring Carrick in, because Carrick was that person he wasn't really leading the team, but he would certainly calm things down. He would move things on. He would do basically what Matic should be doing, but isn't doing. Yeah, receive the ball from the defence, push it forward, encourage everyone to go forward nice and quickly. That's what Carrick was doing. That's what Matic should be doing, but is not doing. Not anymore. He wasn't really doing it in the first place. But definitely, Maguire, yep, there's no leadership in him in any way, shape, or form. Yet when you get games like we had on Wednesday, if Maguire was a good leader, a good captain, he would have been sticking his foot up some players' backsides. There's no doubt about it. He would have been, really roaring at them. Certainly on midfield. Get the ball forward. What are you doing? To our front players, get in those positions where you can push them back. It's all very well saying, okay, yeah, West Ham were pushing. West Ham were pushing because they were allowed to push. If United were a lot more threatening with their attack and attack quicker, faster is quicker, basically, yeah. And more effective, more shots on goal, scoring a few goals early, West Ham would have been completely deflated. They would not have been trying to press United. They'd have been trying to figure out what on earth has happened and what do we do from here. As I say, tactics should have been really one touch. So another change you make from the Chelsea Man United game in 2012 to this game here, change the manager. Bring a manager in who knows how to get the best out of his players. I mean, 2012, oh my lord, 2012, 2013, those seasons, the players we had, Anderson, awful. De Silva, although I think really they should have kept De Silva. I don't think they should let him go. He would have been a good squad player. But all he was a squad player, but he was playing as number one right back. Never should have happened. That never should have happened. But it was. We had an aging Ferdinand, Vidic, and Evra. An aging Giggs, and then Scholes came back. So there was quite an aging team. But up front, we had Van Persie, we had Rooney, and somehow they did fantastic work in those 2 seasons. Chicharito added some goals, but the quality of the squad in those 2 seasons was poor. It's about still better than what we got now. Still better than what we got now because overall, Scholes, Giggs, they would both come into this team that we've got now, certainly the squad, easily. Rio, Vidic, Evra, easily would get into this squad. Carrick, easily. So those 6 players would basically, yeah. I mean, Scholes in that time, you would consider replacing Fernandez with Scholes. You would. Fernandez has been good, but is he Scholes? No. So Giggs and Scholes in mid, yet you do that over Pogba, Bruno. You would do that, yes. And the back line, yet no doubt about it. You would say, yep, keep Wan-Bissaka, get rid of the rest. So, yeah, those 6 would come into our first 11 any day of the week. Which says a lot about our squad, really, how poor it is. Even our first 11 does not compete to one of the worst first 11s, really, that Fergie had. And it was. Yeah, the fact that Scholes came back. I don't believe the story that Scholes said that Scholes himself realised he still wanted to play, he still could play. So he approached the club. No. Fergie called him and begged him. There's no doubt about it in my mind at all. Fergie called Scholes and begged him, please come back. Because the midfield at that time that United had was awful. Really, really poor in comparison. We didn't have anyone that could do what Scholes could do. Nowhere near. Anderson, oh my lord, he was terrible. Fletcher was a player who could do a job. If you needed a player man marked in a game, he could do that. Apart from that, sorry, Fletcher, you weren't really. You should never have been a first 11 player at Man United. Never. But same as De Silva, same as Anderson, same as Welbeck, same as Valencia and Young. So Valencia and Young, absolutely respect. The fact that he gave all those years to the club playing in positions that they really should never have played in. Yeah, rescuing the club because the club weren't prepared to buy a left back or a right back. And once Shaw was injured, really, there was nothing they could do but play Young there, because even when Shaw came in, tried to play, he was terrible. So Young had to continue. And Valencia, there was no right back. It was just him. There was no one else who could really play at right back at all. It was him. That showed when we got injured. We were in trouble. So, to those two, fantastic squad players, but they weren't that good at left back and right back. Even though Valencia, I think he won player of the season a couple of times. I mean, he did a fantastic job there, considering he was a winger. Was he good enough defensively? Same as Young, nowhere near. But offensively, they were both good. They were both better than most wing backs because they were natural wingers. So they did a fantastic job there, considering. But yeah. But as I say, Fergie was able to get the best out of that. He was able to push those players and squeeze the last fantastic bits out of players like Rio. Definitely out of Rio. Rio had nothing after that. He was completely spent. Scholes and Giggs and Rio and in Van Persie. Rooney wasn't the same player after that, really. After 2013, he was never the same player again, really. He went downhill very quickly after that. So I think the pressure on a lot of these players to carry that team, because there were so many players that were just under par. I think Pogba, Bruno, they recognise that now because they're the ones carrying this team. When they were the ones carrying this team. I mean, they've got poor. But yeah, we forget that in 2012-13, United weren't very good at all. They were quite poor. Even the performances were quite dull in comparison to the 90s and from around about 94 till 2009. United were fantastic to watch. Absolute pleasure to watch. But really, after 2009, you could see it start to go downhill. You could see the direction it was going in. Players weren't being replaced. When Keane left, he wasn't replaced. They made no effort to replace Giggs as he was getting older, or Scholes, or Vidic, or Rio, or Evra. Not really. And then when Ronaldo left, as I say, they went to Wigan to find a replacement for the world's, potentially the world's best player ever. Yeah. They went to Wigan to find his replacement. As soon as they did that, it's like, well, there you go. Okay. The good times may not be over, but they're going to be over pretty soon. Decisions that were being made just made it pretty clear that that's going to be the case. So yeah, hopefully, I have put it this way: I have no belief in any way, shape, or form that Man United in the next 2 to 3 years are going to be earning my time. Not like they were before. Nowhere near. No, they're in with the right manager. With the right manager, they're probably at least 4 to 5 years away. Because again, another thing that's got to be mentioned that again, Woodward is suggesting getting a sporting director in this window. Ugh. But the fact that Woodward has already said that the sporting director will basically have no input in transfers, or anything like that, that would all be down to him still. What's the point of getting a sporting director, really? I don't see any point in that in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, but I mean, a sporting director with, if Woodward just focused on the finances and you've got the right manager and you've got a sporting director in who understood the club and started tying everything together to go in a certain direction like Liverpool did. Liverpool decided, right, we want to win the league. How we do that? We've got to get the right players in to fit the way we want to play, or the way this manager wants to play. And they weren't going for the most expensive players. They weren't even going for the best players that people believed were available. They were going for the players that were best suited to the way they wanted to play. And it worked. They've done a fantastic job. They've got this way of playing that is exciting to watch, like watching United of old. But they've done that because they went and bought the right players, like United of old used to go and buy the right players. So this United have to learn from that and say, right, let's work out the way we want to play. Let's get a manager to fit that. Let's get a sporting director that can carry that through the whole system. And then let's get the right players in. Let's identify the players we want gone. Let's stop giving blinking massive contracts. Matic, they gave a 3-year contract to Matic. Insane. If it's an option of let him go or give him a 3-year contract, let him go. He had done nothing really to earn a 3-year contract. He's getting older and older and older and slower and slower and slower in a team that needs to be quick. Towards the end of that 3-year contract, he is unlikely to be playing any games at all for the club, but he'll be paid for a full year of playing football when he's probably not even sitting on the bench. It's insane. But this window, if there's any hope that United are going to get sorted within the next 3 years, they've got to get rid of Jones. They've got to get rid of Pereira. They've got to get rid of Mata. All these players that aren't good enough, that when they come in, they can't do it. Yet, I personally would get rid of Fred in this window as well, because I think you can sell him. That apparently United aren't going to renew the loan deals for Sanchez and Smalling, so they're probably going to try and sell them. Although I would personally sell Jones, keep Smalling. Sell Rojo. You still got Rojo to sell. He's still on the books. Sell him. If necessary, give him away. Just let someone have him. So here you go, you have him. He's not going to play, so get him off the books. Same as Jones, get him off the books. Sanchez as well. If he's not really going to play, which I don't think he is, I don't think Ollie likes him. They didn't seem to get along. That's why Ollie wanted him out of the club. Get him off the books. Just get them away from the club. If they're free transfers, let them be free transfers. Just get them out. Money side of it, yeah, you're going to lose a bit of money. But that's your own fault. You shouldn't have signed these players on the brink in first place, should you? Really? I mean, Jones should have been let go years ago. Pereira shouldn't have been offered a new contract because he just doesn't have the ability. He's never shown he has. Never. Lingard, get rid of him. again, you'll sell him. The lower teams in the Premier League will want him. You might get 20 million for him, maybe 30 for him. He's still relatively young. He's English. So, he's had experience at a higher level club. So, therefore, a lot of these clubs will want him. No idea why. He's this season. I think it's basically pretty much his lowest in assists and goals this season. Was it 1 goal, 1 assist so far this season? That's disastrous. Really, really poor. I mean, you could have picked up some bloke playing Sunday football, shoved him in. I think he would have done better than Lingard. He'd have had maybe a few more goals or a few assists more than Lingard in that time. Lingard just doesn't have it. That's the reality. He just doesn't have it. So there you go. I say they've got to do all that if there's going to be even the slightest of possibilities that they're going to turn things around in the next couple of years. I don't think they are. I'm hopeful, Christianity-wise, that the prophecy that was given will come true. That the church will get itself right and that God will get the church right. I'm hoping that'll be the case. It is purely hope right now, because there's been loads of different prophecies over the years and they haven't delivered. So this may just be another one of those. Time will tell. You take care. God bless. And I will speak to you soon.